With Cosmic Eclipse, let's talk about some tricks. Ultra beasts are gonna go quick, flipping prize cards, that's it. Can it get even more insane? How about a GX move that will remain for the entirety of the total game? 30 more damage, we cannot sustain, just broken cards, here we go again. The power creep is about to drain, the non-GX just can't maintain. What do? Where do we aim? Maybe we should just play floor gas. Get rid of your hand, it's quite the mess. All players will be real impressed, but now let's talk about we'll see success. Yeah, episode 232, Untitled Chapter set review. What's up YouTube, it's TCG here and welcome back to another episode on my channel. On this channel you always get the latest competitive TCG information in town, so be sure you are subscribed so you don't ever miss out, and also click that little notification bell so you get notified immediately when a new video hits the channel. Today we're going to be checking out the Altered Genesis set. It's going to be a mini set review to actually know what is coming. Of course, the Cosmic Eclipse, our last Sun and Moon set of the block, is coming out on the 1st of November, and all of these cards will hopefully be reprinted in the English set as well. So this is going to be giving us a little bit of insight on what to expect in the Cosmic Eclipse set. So I'm very excited. Let's get this show on the road with the first card I want to talk about. That's Sunflora. Sunflora, it's been a while since this card got printed. I think the last one got printed in the Sun and Moon base set. This is an interesting one for a DCE, even though DCE is of course rotated out. We can also use triple accelerated energy. Let's just use that as an example. For a triple accelerated energy, this has the following attack: Sun Power. During your next turn, ignore all energy and the attack cost of each of your grass and fire Pokemon in play, including Pokemon put into play during that turn. So that means next turn we can use those crazy attacks for 0 energy. So that's why Sunflora is actually kind of a unique way. I'm just gonna be maybe a rogue deck. Maybe a card comes out that is like 5 fire energies or something and deals a bazillion amount of damage. Well, we can just simply rely on Sunflora to just ignore the attack costs. What else is here? We have Credali or Cridali. I don't know how to pronounce this one. It's the fossil one from, of course, the Hoenn region, evolving from Lileep. And the thing here is that it has the ability Swaying Blind. And if your opponent's Pokemon is affected by a special condition, it cannot retreat. So that means, Bursting Burn, ooh, sorry, you cannot retreat. Other things that could happen, maybe an expanded with a Hypnotoxic Laser, they cannot retreat. Although, things like Switch and a Skateboard are still there, even though, like, this could stop things like Jirachi. Let's say a lot of these decks run Jirachi with the Stellar Wish, the one from Team Up. Well, they're gonna be in a little bit of trouble because if they fall asleep, they cannot retreat. So even a Skateboard will not work since this ability is amazing. Great ability, but it's a fossil. I wonder how it will be used. We also have, of course, that, laboratory that we can just of course get our fossils out, but I don't know if this card is gonna see play because the attack is just not that good. 110, yeah, leaves it to be. Next is Cricketune. This is an amazing Pokemon and it has an attack that can go in 3 ways, which is amazing. It actually dishes out 30 damage, and if you have exactly 1 card in your hand, this attack does 100 more damage. So very similar like Granbull all the way from Lost Thunder. 130 damage for a single energy is definitely not bad, but you have to only have 1 card in the hand. This could help if the opponent just spams Reset Stamp. Well, out of nowhere, this Cricketune can deal out a lot of damage. Hitting for grass weakness is not that relevant in the TCG at the moment, but it could change, although we do hit for weakness against Keldeo G Axe, so that could help. Next up in this attack, it also says if you have exactly 3 cards in your hand, your opponent's active Pokemon is now confused. So 30 damage and confused if you have 3 cards in the hand. And if you have exactly 6 cards in the hand, this attack does 30 damage to each of your opponent's bench Pokemon. Imagine that! Flying Flip Ball on steroids, 30 on everything. So this is actually an interesting way. I want to just try this out. You have 6 cards in the hand. That means you have to have a sort of a draw engine going around. Maybe Pidgeotto could help because, of course, you can rely on the Professor Am's lecture. So getting this spread would be kind of interesting. Although, one little side note, if people are playing the Mew from Unbroken Bonds, we're actually gonna be so much trouble here. But this is an interesting attack that can use it in 3 different ways depending on your hand size. What else is in the set? I'm just gonna look over all the interesting cards that might see some play. Nah, there's a lot of like stage 2 that won't see play. Here's a Boswell. Boswell is always great since it's an Ultra Beast. You can search it out with Ultra Space. You can use Beast Energy, etc. This has the ability Beast Burst. The Pokemon's attacks deal 20 more damage to your opponent's active Pokemon for each prize card you have taken. Yeah, let that sink in. Imagine that you knock out a tag team. That means this baby Boswell will dish out an additional 60 damage. So for every prize card you've taken, you dish out an additional 20. So if you knock out a tag team, you get 3 prize cards. That means you get a 60 extra damage buff. Above that, even with the Beast Energy, and out of nowhere, you'll be dishing more damage. So this can be like a late game attack out of nowhere. For a Grass and a Carlos, you dish out 60 damage. That is not a lot. But imagine you already actually taken 5 prize cards. That means 100 more damage. That's 160. And with a Beast Energy out of nowhere, bam, 190. Definitely interesting to take a look at. 130 HP as well, so Baby Boswell is always amazing. Next up is Volcarona G Axe. I have so much hopes for this kind of a card because, yeah, remember the CGY G Axe and the sniping pings, and even though that was a stage 2, it definitely saw play. Well, let me enlighten you guys. We have the Scorching Bomb of Volcarona G Axe. Once during your turn, you may discard a fire energy from your hand. If you do, put 2 damage counters on one of your opponent's Pokemon. Yeah, and this stack. So imagine we get 4 Volcarona G Axes out, and we use cards like the Giant Heart to get energies in our hand, and maybe Fire Crystal to get them from the discard pile back again. Well, you just for every one you put 2 damage counters on one of your opponent's Pokemon. For 4 of them out, that's sniping 80 damage, and this is not a stage 2. No rare candy shenanigans whatsoever. We are just gonna rely, of course, on things like just manually evolving, or we could use the Red and Blue Tag Team Supporter, which I'm gonna talk about as well in this video, which can just search out this card, and you can even accelerate energies as well. So that's fantastic. Sniping is good. We might see it in some Reshizard decks. They already using those Fighting Dojo, Martial Arts Dojo, and Fighting Energy to put the extra damage. Well, maybe you could try Volcarona. I know it has an ability, I know, but you can only, you can just use the Green's Exploration Engine, and let's say, oh, I just need 2 damage counters, and the late game, you can finish the deal, or maybe somewhere else. Maybe Abilities will even be better to use this, since it already runs things like Vulpix. You could, or maybe run a Ditto line and stuff. It's gonna be fantastic to try this out in every fire deck. So what you see here is also an attack, 160 damage, and you return 2 fire energies from your hand. That means, I know your reset stamp weak against that because they go to the hand, you got reset stamp, you possibly draw into energies. But the good thing about that is that you can use the Scorching Bombs after you use the attack. So Backfire dishes out 160, and with, of course, the ability here, you can add it up to 180 or maybe 200, so that's actually not bad. Then Great Heatwave GX, discard an energy from each of your opponent's Pokemon. Yeah, every single one of them discarding an energy. So that might be interesting to see in some versions, like they use the Tapu Koko Prism Star, and out of nowhere you just discard those energies if they don't have energy switches. But interesting, indeed. But this is actually one of the cards to look out for, one of the better GXs all around. We have a Pyro with the Spiraling Inferno, dishing out 70 damage, and discard all Pokemon tool cards and special energy attached to the opponent's active. Or actually, not to the active, to all of the Pokemon. So even the bench, nobody is safe. We discard all tool cards and special energy. So discarding tool cards has always been like kind of a thing that we're missing right now with the loss of Field Blower. Maybe this could fill the void, although we need to Welder onto it and attach of the turn in order to make it work. But still, if you can get like removing all the tool cards and special energies, it might see some occasional play with Ditto Prism Star into the Pyro. What else? We have a new Alolan Vulpix with Snowed In. As long as this Pokemon is on the bench, it takes 0 damage from attack. So it's actually safe, so that means no more they're gonna just target it down maybe with Naganadel GX because they're afraid Ninetales will come up and it is invincible for GX moves. What else? We have a Snorlax of 60 HP back in the format. Interesting to say the least because I'm a huge fan of Frostlass. Yeah, what else do we see here? I'm just gonna look around. We have an amazing Walrein with the Cold Wave attack. For a single water energy, you dish out 60 damage, and then your opponent cannot play any trainer cards from their hand during their turn. Pretty similar like Dark Moon GX of Darkrai and Umbreon Tag Team GX. So no trainers, that means no stadiums, no items, no supporters, no trainers in general. And you cannot use this attack if any of your Pokemon use Cold Wave during your last turn. So it is not like reusable every single turn. So there is gonna be Trainer Lock, follow it up with no Trainer Lock, follow it up with a Trainer Lock. So you cannot spam it. But it's definitely interesting to see. Maybe people will try it out. What else is it is an amazing Elder Genesis set. This Black Kyurem here. This is out 100 damage, and if you have any Stadium card in play, it is out 200 damage. So you don't even have to discard it. 200 damage is actually nice. Maybe the Quagnac players are in desperate need of one prize that can dish out that amount of damage, because 200 can one-shot the Dene, can one-shot Zeraora GX, for example. So that's actually not bad. What else are we seeing here? We see a Lantern. As often as you like during your turn, you may look at the top card of your opponent's deck, then return it to the top of their deck. Okay, let's say you just check it out and you see it's terrible. You don't have to waste your Chip Ice Axe. That's maybe something. Or maybe some sort of effect like discard the top card of your opponent's deck and dishing out more damage depending on something. Well, Lantern can fill that void to make sure you know what the opponent will be drawing. What else do we see? This is the first time I'm checking out this set. I'm only gonna talk about the things that are interesting. We have a Swoobite here. Charm Stomp, the second attack. Your opponent chooses one of their own Pokemon and then addition 90 damage to that Pokemon. So your opponent is in control, but 90 damage for a single Psychic Energy is definitely not bad in my book. We have a Golurk, which tries to be interesting with the Fist of Integrity. 160 damage. If you have a supporter card in your discard pile, this attack does nothing. So yeah, we have to play it with cards like Lapras to get things from the discard pile, actually supporters, but that only gets out Misty's request, I think, so that's very interesting. You cannot have any supporters in your discard pile, so you're gonna have to find a way to put them back in your deck. Or on the top of the deck. Maybe Mewtwo? Mewtwo can put a supporter from the discard on the top of the deck, so you don't have it in the discard pile. Who knows, but yeah, for a double Colorless Energy, it's so sad that double Colorless Energy is rotated, otherwise this would have been actually not that bad. 160 damage. It is also searchable with Pokemon Maniac, a Pokemaniac supporter card, so that's cool. Okay, we have a Dragal. If your opponent's active Pokemon is poisoned, put 10 damage counters instead of 1 on that Pokemon, so if you use that attack, so not that good actually. Next is Volcarona G Axe. I have high hopes for this card. It is searchable with Mysterious Treasure. It is searchable with Cherish Ball, and it has a great ability, the Dedicated Dance. Once during your turn, if one of your Pokemon was knocked out during your opponent's last turn, you may draw 3 cards. This is not stackable, so you cannot spam Volcarona G Axe, but still. Your opponent resets stamps. Oh shit, what do we do now? Oh well, this is interesting. We just use Mysterious Treasure or Cherish Ball if we draw into those cards, if we have them in the deck either way. Get Volcarona, draw 3 cards, and find a supporter, and back we are rolling once again. So Volcarona can just be your safety net for, of course, those decks that sometimes happen to break after reset stamp. It also has attacks, but don't bother. I wouldn't use the attacks anyway. We have some more stuff going around. We have a weird Lunala with Lunar Ring. Once during your turn, if you have a Solgaleo in play, you may search your deck for up to 2 energy cards and attach them to your Solgaleo and Lunala in any way you like. So they're actually promoting these stage 2s, but getting 2 stage 2s out is sad. It doesn't specify like Prism Star, so Solgaleo Prism Star does not work in theory. Yeah, we have to check the official rulings, but I think I'm right on that department. So you have to get out 2 stage 2s, and that's very hard to do in the first place. So, oof. What else am I going to talk about? Yeah, I think I'm just going to talk about this Flygon G Axe. Flygon is always interesting in the trading card game. This time around, it brings the ability Sandstorm Protection. As long as this Pokemon is your active Pokemon, any damage done to your Pokemon from your opponent's attacks is reduced by 30. So the bench is also blocked by 30 damage. Let's say Untitled Chapter decides to just use that Venom Shot for 170 damage on one of your Dedenne. You reduce the damage by 30 and the damage is a wrap. So that's interesting. That ability could help out. Technically means that Flygon G Axe has 270 HP. And it does have some interesting attacks, but the attack costs are triple fighting energy. We need 3 fighting energies, and how do we ever do that? We have Black Belt. If we're behind in prize cards, we can get rid of 1 fighting energy. We have the attachment of the turn, and then we're still stuck. So you need 2 attachments on this guy. We don't have energy acceleration for fighting types, unfortunately. So I don't know if the attack can get off, but if you can get it off, it's nice. Dish it out 120 damage, and if there's a stadium card in play, you dish out 240 damage and you discard that stadium. So in theory, 240 damage gets a vast majority of the G Axes, and also you're already a fighting type, which means Pikarom will be shaken in their boots for this card. And then we have Sonic Edge G Axe, 220 damage. This attack damage isn't affected by any effects of your opponent's active Pokemon. So you can go through things like Caldeo G Axe, you can go through Ninetales from Team Up, or actually from Unbroken Bonds. I have to check that. I think it's Team Up, the fairy one. You can go through everything. It's similar like the Double Blaze G Axe at its full potential. We have our Mallow. Yeah, I'm a huge fan of fossils, and our Mallow is one of my favorites here. We have Ancient Blast, the first attack. You dish out 20 damage, and this attack does 50 more damage for each unidentified fossil in your discard pile. You're gonna scratch your head. Oh, how do we get them all in the discard pile without evolving? Well, we have, of course, that research lab, I think, where you can just get your fossils immediately out from the deck on the bench. So that means your our Anereats can just go on the bench. You also have Ditto Prism Star, which can evolve into an Anereat, so there's that. So you have options to get a multiple or Mallow out without relying on unidentified fossil. And let's say you get 4 of them in the discard pile, bang, out of nowhere, you dish out 200 damage. Even if you only get 3 unidentified fossils in the discard pile, hitting 150 for a single attachment, the triple accelerated energy in that case, will get huge KOs here, which I do love. And we definitely need a reprint of Double Kara's energy, if I had to say. There's also a Lichen Rock, which will just shine and expand it all around, but in the standard, not too much. Has an ability, Boiling Blood. If your opponent has any GXs in play, the energy cost for this Pokemon's attack is reduced by 3 Kara's energies. And it does specify Pokemon GX, so they're stepping away from the wordplay if you have any Pokemon EX or GX, so they're stepping away from that, which is one of the first cards I've seen so far that does this. If the opponent has a GX, a Dedenne, a Mewtwo, whatever, you can just use the attack for free initially, unless they have like some way to just up the attack cost. We have 60 damage, and if your opponent's active Pokemon has any special energies attached to it, you dish out 70 more. That means 130 damage. I like the attack since you can use it for 0 energies, but without Choice Band, you're not even one-shotting the Dennis, and the opponent will never be playing special energies in the standard format as of yet, because think about it, the only special energy that's being played right now is maybe Rainbow Energy and the occasional Mewtwo boxes, or of course the Recycle Energy, which you don't see often. Other than that, it's like Welder with Fire Energies, Pikarom with Lightning Energies, Malamar with Psychic Energies, no special energies around, so yeah, not too good in the standard format, but will shine in the expanded where you can just blow up on Zoroarks all around. Oh boy, what else? What is interesting? What can actually have an impact on the format or has to be mentioned here? We have a Mawile, which can have, of course, the dual call here. Search your deck for 2 tag team cards, reveal them and put them in your hand. The tag team means you can also search out certain supporters. That means there's going to be tag team supporters, which I'm going to talk about later in this video. And you can also search those out, including Pokemons as well. Pokemon tag teams. So maybe we can try that out. Then there's, of course, the Solgaleo, which works hand in hand with the Lunala. This also has an ability. If you have a Lunala in play, all of your Solgaleo and Lunala in play take 50 less damage from your opponent's attacks. And this is not stackable, otherwise it would be OP if you can get multiple out. So 170 HP for a stage 2, non-GX, and 50 less damage if you can get that Lunala out. Might be something interesting to explore, but still, we don't have energy acceleration for these Pokemon, and they are just gonna brick all the time, if I had to guess. There's Alolan Ninetales. I've seen a lot of fuzz around of that card. We have the Dust Blow for 0 energy, so no need to attach energies. This attack does 10 damage for each Pokemon tool card in your discard pile. 10 damage. So that means if you play 20 tool cards, or maybe, let's say, 18 tool cards, you dish out 180 damage if you get them all in the discard pile. So it's actually a friend of the Gore guys all the way back from Crimson Invasion. Could have helped so much, but still, having so many tool cards in your deck will make it very clunky. You could get this out, but get the damage output. You also have to get them in the discard pile. Without things like the Sycamore, we'll have to rely on the Dene, and having a GX on your field will make your deck, a little bit non-GX. Actually, more GX focused than you would love. Azurill will be shining in a lot of decks that need that energy acceleration. We have, of course, the Rapid Charge ability. All these baby Pokemon have free retreat and all, no weakness, no resistance, but they can be used and your turn automatically ends if you use the ability. This ability is interesting. Once during your turn, before you attack, you may flip a coin. If heads, attach a basic energy card from your discard pile to your active Pokemon. So, in those decks that need energy acceleration, maybe Malamar decks could use this, that you don't have that pressure to have 2 Malamars out on your second turn or whatever. Maybe Pikarom players will use this to have their full Bliss earlier. If you go first, you cannot attack either way. So getting that extra energy in play is definitely nice. Maybe as a one-up, it's not that searchable, but with communication, you can get it out. Also, it has 60 HP, so it's also searchable with the Professor Elm's Lecture. Next, there's going to be the the Florges line. They all have abilities. We have, of course, Floette, the stage 1. When you play this Pokemon from your hand to evolve one of your Pokemon, that means that you can evolve from Ditto or Flabébé, doesn't matter. You may choose a card from your opponent's hand, a random card, and your opponent reveals that card and shuffles it into their deck. So that is just one card. If you can get multiple out, your opponent will be left with 0 cards. And definitely if you can get out Florges, the ability Flower Picking here, it's the same ability as the Floette. When you play this Pokemon, from your hand to evolve one of your Pokemon, you may choose 2 cards in your opponent's hand. Your opponent reveals those 2 cards and shuffles them into their deck. So if you can get this board set up, your opponent will be left with 0 cards in the hand, and then maybe with Chip Chip Ice Axe you can get an infinite log going, as we've seen before with cards like Oranguru, Pidgeotto, Control. Very interesting. They're actually pushing, of course, the hand disruption very much, definitely since Jesse and James was in the Hidden Fates, as well as the Weezing. Let's see here. Okay, we have a Sylveon, which has the Love Wave, 80 damage, the second attack. If you played a tag team supporter from your hand during this turn, you dish out 80 more damage, so 160 damage. This is actually enough to one-shot a huge tag team Pokemon that are weak to Fairy. And that is actually very good, because there's going to be a lot of new Dragon tag teams, which we're going to talk about after the Sylveon. They're coming out, they're weak to Fairy, that's amazing. Not only that, also the Giratina and Garchomp tag team is also weak to Fairy. Talking about weak to Fairy, we have the new mascot, or actually the new hyped card from the set, Arceus and Dialga and Palkia Tag Team GX. First attack, Ultimate Ray, 150 damage. Search your deck for up to 3 basic energies and attach them to one of your your Pokemon in any way you like. So it's pretty much like full blitz, but you can choose where you attach. So not to one Pokemon, you can spread it across your board if you want to. The attack cost is rather sad, because we need a water, a metal, and a colorless energy. And without acceleration for those types, it's very hard to get those. Although in Expanded we have double Dragon Energy, and the Standard will be a little bit harder. The first attack here is the way you want to go, to just have energy acceleration, but the second attack, the GX move, is always amazing to use in any game. Why is that? The Alternate Creation GX. For the rest of the game, yeah, you heard me right, your Pokemon attacks deal 30 more damage to your opponent's active Pokemon before applying weakness and resistance. If this Pokemon has at least 1 water energy extra in addition to the attack cost, when your opponent's active Pokemon is knocked out by damage from those attacks, you can take 1 more prize card. So, let me just explain this. Have 1 metal energy attached, all your Pokemon have like a muscle band, but then better. Let's say a choice band, but it also works for non-GXs for the rest of the game. Insane. We already seen that muscle band still play, the choice band still play, everything that boosts the damage output will still play. And just for a simple metal energy, maybe a rainbow energy, bam, you can get this off and all your attacks dish out 30 more damage. That is huge. For those decks that say, oh, I cannot one-shot a Pikarom, I'm like 10 damage short, aka Reshizard, you can just put this on, first turn, you use that attack, and out of nowhere, you can one-shot almost everything in the format. Not only that, let's say you have a metal and a water attached. Well, that means you can use this attack, and then after that, all of your KOs that you take with, of course, knocking out the active Pokemon, you can take an additional prize card. And just in theory, yeah, the Mega Sableye and Tyranitar saw play especially for that reason, and this card will also see play for that amazing reason. Take one more prize card. That means you can catch up in games where you're left behind. You can just set up with Alternate Creation and then finish the game by knocking out tag teams and taking 4 prize cards instead. Okay, another tag team here is Naganadel and Guzzlord G Axe. Once during your turn, you may discard a Pokemon from your hand. If you do, you heal 60 damage from this Pokemon. This is huge because this is kind of a tank. It has 280 HP, paired out with Great Potion, paired out with Mixed Herbs, paired out with Pokemon Center Lady, which saw a reprint, and you'll be healing up a ton of damage of your tank, and with the ability, just discarding 1 energy, actually 1 Pokemon from the hand, and you heal 60 damage. You can get them back with Brock's Grit and all that good stuff. So, yeah, a tank to say the least. But it also comes paired with attacks. We have, of course, 180 damage for Psychic Darkness Carlos. Kind of average, but 180 solid is just nice. Goodbye Dedenne, goodbye Blacephalon, goodbye other Pokemon that have that HP. We also have the Chaos Order GX. Flip over your prize cards. No, you have not won the game, you're silly. Yeah, you flip over your prize cards, they remain face up for the rest of the game. If this Pokemon has at least 1 extra Psychic and 1 extra Darkness energy attached to it, so the same attack cost like its first attack, which is good, you can take 2 prize cards. Without knocking out stuff, you can just simply take 2 prize cards. Not only is this amazing, because you flip over your cards first, you have access to all of the cards in your prize cards. Whatever you want, you have it. No longer you have the issue, oh, it's priced. No way, you can just take it from the prize cards. So, wow. Wow, you don't even, you don't change the situation where your opponent has a Pokemon stacked up with energies. You cannot KO it, but you can take 2 prize cards. So maybe in the late game, GX move, you win. Oof, how about that? Very, very amazing. What else? I think I'm not gonna talk about some more dragons. There's also nah, stage 2, not gonna talk about it. We have here Ultra Necrozma. Only 110 HP this time around. It has the ability Ultra Burst. This Pokemon can only attack if your opponent has 2 or fewer prize cards remaining. There's no Alolan Muk to shut this down, so you have to be sure that your opponent has 2 or fewer prize cards remaining. Then you can use the attack and you can dish out 170 damage and you discard an energy from your opponent's active as well. 170, the Dennet territory, so you can one-shot that, but also 170 to finish up some stuff is actually not bad on the one prizer. Might be used in some Ultra Necrozma Malamar decks as like coming out of nowhere 170 if the opponent has 2 or fewer prize cards, because of course you'll be playing all non-GXs, this could help out a lot. Next is Mega Lopunny and Jigglypuff GX, the weirdest combo ever, but it works. I'm a big fan of this card actually. Jumping Balloon, 60 damage, and this attack does 60 more damage for each of your opponent's Pokemon EX and GX. Similar like, I do think there was like a Charizard or a Salamence that did that way back, it was an EX. This got more damage depending on how many Pokemon GX or EX they have. So we have this card, it is very easy to set this up. We have Malamar, if you want to. We have Tapu Koko Prism Star and attack switch and all that stuff, and the Pikarom decks. We also have Welder. I'm a big fan of just setting this up in one turn out of nowhere. Your opponent is playing carelessly, they're using electromagnetic radar, they get out the Dene, they get out Zero Aura, they smack down their Pikarom, and suddenly they have 4 tag teams, or actually 4 GXs in play. Or let's say they only have 3 GXs in play. A Dedenne, a Zero Aura, and a Pikarom. The standard stuff, right? That means we will dish out, yeah, you do the math correctly, that is 240 damage. So this is an ideal way to just one-shot Pikaroms out of the blue if they just overbench or actually overplay GXs. Easy searchable, Cherish Ball, Welder, get this in the active, and out of nowhere on your first turn that Pikarom is going down. I'm a big fan of this card, maybe as a one-off in lots of these Welder-based decks. We also have a GX, Puff Smasher GX. Your opponent's active Pokemon is now asleep. Of course, it's a Jigglypuff card. This Pokemon has at least 4 extra energies in addition to the attack cost. You snipe 200 damage on one of your opponent's bench Pokemon. So pretty similar like the Venom Shot, but Venom Shot is not a GX move and you have to discard energies. While this, you remain the energies and you can snipe 200. Is there a difference in sniping? Yes, you go over the cap of like 170. 180 is like nice. Blacephalon, poop, you're KO. Oh, and there's a nice Zero Aura there, poof, KO. So if you can get the energies on there, maybe with tag switch or whatever, this might be interesting to sweep off the game, but typically most of the decks use their GX move early on. Okay, there's let's see here. Let's see. Nope, I'm not gonna talk about that. There's a lot of cards that are just way too mediocre to just be putting in a video like this. The video is already way too long as it is. What else? What else has the potential? Okay, I don't think I'm gonna talk about the Carlos Pokemon. They're actually not that good. Although there's a Heliolisk Carlos type, which can dish out 30 damage, and if your opponent has any lightning Pokemon in play, you dish out 120 for a single Carlos energy. Although it's a stage 1, we don't have things like Ultra Ball. The only way you can get it out is a Pokemon communication. So there's that. Scratch that, let's go over to the trainer cards. We have Tack Whistle. This is gonna be a whistle, just like Judge Whistle, but this time around, it has a great effect. Search your deck for 2 tag team cards and put them in your hand. That can mean Pokemon or that can be supporters. There's gonna be tag team supporters coming in the video. There's an Island Challenge Amulet. This is one of the strongest cards in the set, no doubt. In my opinion, could be wrong, but I'm a big fan of this card. Ever since Field Blower got rotated, every tool card is just sticking on the board. The max HP of your Pokemon GX or Pokemon EX this card is attached to is reduced by 100. If this Pokemon is knocked out by damage from attacks from your opponent's Pokemon, they take 1 less prize card. Oh boy. Take this scenario for instance. You equip this to a Blacephalon GX. You just one-shot something, you always expect your Blacephalon to die either way. Well, if this is equipped, they take 1 less prize card, so typically your Blacephalon deck becomes a 1 prize deck. Can you imagine it? A 1 prizer like Blacephalon GX with this tool card equipped can one-shot tag teams. That is gonna change the game, definitely. Also in dark decks, you also have that Black Market Prism Star. Combine this with this, and out of nowhere, your tag teams only give out 1 prize card. This is insane. Yeah, I love this card. I know you're gonna get like Fragile, you get that 100 HP reduced from yourself, but yeah, you typically, if you go heavy with an attack, you expect your opponent to have a similar way and just destroy you as well. Not to mention, you also have to be careful, Naganadel GX will snipe you if you have this equipped before you're ready, so think about that. but still a very amazing card all around. Next up is we have the B-side. So this is a tool card, again, tool card stick on the board. The attacks of an Ultra Beast this card is attached to dish out 10 more damage for each prize card you've taken to your opponent's active Pokemon. So we start again as an example with Baby Boswell. Baby Boswell typically smacks 120 damage. The problem with that card is that, Alolan Raichu has 260. Well, at a point where the opponent has 4 prize cards remaining, you already at least took 1 more or maybe 2 prize cards. That means you dish out 20 extra damage. 20 extra damage with your sledgehammer will turn into an amazing threat. Bam! Out of nowhere, you'll be hitting for the numbers you want. Not only that, let's say you took 5 cards already. For each prize card you've already taken. So 5 prize cards, that means you dish out an additional 50 damage. An additional 50 damage with maybe things like Flygon Jax can come out of nowhere. Maybe with, of course, Naganadel. Naganadel with 50 extra damage output with the turning point will turn the attack from 80 damage base all the way into an amazing attack which can one-shot certain Pokemon. So very, very nice to see this tool card. Don't know if it's still a lot of play because, you have to clean up some room in your deck, but still, nice. Next is Guzman Hala, the weirdest combination, and I do think Pokemon got a little bit sloppy on the artwork here. They're just having like a background and just said like, yeah, some regular art we already seen, just stick them on there and poof, we're done. Yeah, I know the artwork is not amazing, so we definitely have to find our full arts for the Cosmic Eclipse set, but either way, the effects are pretty good. When you play this card, you may discard 2 cards from your hand. If you do, you may search your deck for a Pokemon tool card and a special energy, reveal them and put them in your hand. Okay, that is the secondary effect. The first effect is actually search your deck for a stadium card, reveal it and put it in your hand. So either way, you get a stadium card. And also, if you decide to discard 2 cards, you can search your deck for a tool card and special energy. So you can search everything you want, and special energies are not that easy to find. So in those decks that run like 4 triple accelerated energies without any other energies, this is the card for that. Next is Cynthia and Caitlin. When you play this card, you may discard 1 card from your hand. If you do, draw 3 cards. So TV Reporter. And you may only play 1 supporter during your turn, but these tag teams don't have the thing here that you cannot reuse them. So that means you can use Lusamine to get these back. But this is an amazing thing here. The first effect of the Cynthia and Caitlin actually says put 1 supporter card from your discard pile into your hand, excluding this card. So they actually did that way back with Lusamine. Everybody's like, oh, you can Lusamine loop. Well, you cannot Cynthia and Caitlin loop, but you can get, of course, your Lusamine back with this card. So you can put a supporter from the discard in the hand, you may discard 1 card from the hand and then draw 3 cards. So typically you have TV Reporter and Lusamine dropped into like 1 card. Next up is Mallow and Lana. Switch your active with one of your bench Pokemon. A Tate and Liza effect, not bad. When you play this card, you may discard 2 cards from your hand and then you heal 120 damage from the new active Pokemon you switched into. 120 damage heal is very good. Pair that, we already use like Unit Energies and Gardenia to heal 80 damage from our Keldeo Jax, while healing 120 damage perfect. With Great Potion and this card, you heal your Keldeo Jax completely, so that's interesting. Next is Red and Blue, probably the best tag team out of the bunch for the supporters. Search your deck for a Pokemon G Axe that evolves from one of your Pokemon in play and put it onto that Pokemon to evolve it. Then shuffle your deck. So we have Evo Soda. It does not state like it's a thing like Wally. You still have to put the Pokemon in turn first. Otherwise, you cannot do that. The Pokemon has to be in play for 1 turn. Then you can use this and search your deck for a GX and put it onto there. When you play this card, you may also discard 2 cards from the hand. And if you do, you can search your deck for 2 basic energies and attach it to the new evolved Pokemon. Wow, this is nice. This is nice. Why is this good? Think about Weavile. Typically, you want some Naganadels in play and all that stuff and makes the deck a little bit clunky for Dark Box. Nowadays, Red and Blue, get your Weavile, get 2 energies, move them to your active Darkrai Umbreon, and out of nowhere, you already start attacking. Very, very good in the Dark Box. But other GXs that you need evolution might also abuse this. Things like Volcarona G Axe, which we talked about. Energy acceleration, evolution, consistency, that's the thing to go with Red and Blue. Next is Chaotic Swell. Talked about it on my Facebook page, facebook.com/ZapDosTCG. When either player plays a stadium card from their hand to discard the stadium card, discard the new stadium card that comes in play. Okay, to put it a little bit blunt, we play Chaotic Swell to make sure that the opponent will not smack down their own stadium card. We smack this down, the opponent will smack down a power plant, and out of nowhere the power plant gets destroyed by the effect of this stadium. The stadium otherwise does nothing. It is you just prevent the opponent from smacking down a stadium card of their own, because that way they get discarded. So that is interesting. You win the stadium war, and also in those decks like are really fragile against like things like power plant, Chaotic Swell, and you're good to go, because if the opponent wants to do their own stadium, they need to Marshadow it away first before they can put back a new stadium. If they don't, they smack down their stadium and it gets discarded immediately. So this is nice in those decks that say I don't know what stadium card to play, don't want Shrine, it's not helping with the numbers, don't want that, I just put in the Chaotic Swell. Very nice stadium card all around, very powerful actually. Next is yeah, nothing. There's a bunch of reprints that are coming back. Cherish Ball, yeah, it's here to stay. Adventure Bag, getting some tool cards, Pokemon Communication, and Professor Elm's Lecture. So no Ultra Balls, no Nest Balls. So that is gonna be the mini set review for the the Ultra Genesis set of Japan. Probably gonna be seeing all those cards overseas as well, and the Cosmic Eclipse, so that's why it's in the title here. And hopefully you guys enjoyed this little summary of the set. If you did, be sure to leave the like button. Let me know what your favorite card was that I talked about in this video, and I'll be seeing you guys in the next video. Be sure to subscribe so you don't ever miss out. See you guys later. Peace out.